Good morning. Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. Glad you're here. Happy Friday. That means that it's Freedom Family Friday here on the Wake Up America show. Of course, my lovely, smoking hot, redheaded libertarian Prego wifey is in the studio, Steffi P.
Hello, good morning.
What's up?
We're back in the old studio.
We back.
Familiar surroundings.
This morning was a little bit of a scramble to try and get everything ready because there's like bent nails all over the floor. There's sawdust everywhere. Steffi was hoovering with the vacuum cleaner to get it all ready.
Yeah, we got our tetanus shots.
It's just, I mean, sometimes like the show, we get it ready like just right before we have to go live. And then there's today, which is, we're a little bit late. Sorry about that.
To sit in that small room with you at the desk. I thought it'd be kind of cute. We could cuddle together.
There's just not enough room in it.
Aww.
So we're back here in the regular TV studio. Hopefully by Monday, everything will be back to something like normal and we'll have a good show for you. But today's going to be a little bit hit and miss. We'll do the best we can, but of course, we've got some heavy hitters. Speaking of hits, Justin Peterson will be joining us live at 8 a.m. Yes.
He always has a lot to say.
The gay Republican
About
brother.
everything.
Yes, we're going to talk to Justin at 8 a.m. Central Time. We're excited to have him here. And of course, we love having all of our regular guests like Kermode Bear. West Fanning is here. Joni Rankin back from Arizona. What's up, Joni? How you doing?
Oh, she was in Arizona. Very nice.
Arizona.
West, I've been loving your cookies. Thank you so much for sending them.
She's been eating them all. I've had one. They're almost gone. Glad to have Blue Trike as well as Davos, Weed Chronicles.
Oh, that's
Hi,
someone
everyone.
new.
Yeah, new guy here. What's up, Davos?
Davos, like the WEF.
No, like DEVOS.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Pork Chop 159 is here. Guokas is here. Guokas said yesterday, I saw in the chat that he's not going to be able to join us a whole lot soon. He's got like a new job or a new job schedule. So yeah.
That happens. That
It
happens.
does.
Yeah.
We'll miss you, Wilcox, for sure, and we'll hope you'll be able to hear from you in the replay. Of course, you can always text the show no matter what, anytime, night or day, days, weekends, any day you like. 573-319-1586 is the text line. So check it out right down there on the bottom of your screen. You can see those numbers. You can send us a text and let us know what's on your mind, and we'll read your text on the show, or not if you tell us not to do it. 573-319-1586 is
There's
the text
no HIPAA
line.
on this show.
Exactly. Joining us on the set here, our lovely Stephanie Peterson. We're going to talk about today immigration and squatters, illegals clash with Border Patrol in a violent video that has some legislators like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others swearing that they will vote against the spending bill today because it does nothing to curb the problem at the southern border. Stephanie was watching those video clips right before the show started today. Some violent stuff and pretty scary. I'm going to play that clip of that squatter, but essentially what he was doing was showing other illegal immigrants how to invade private property and to use the law to break the law.
Yeah, it's really not breaking the law at all, apparently.
Well, on a statewide level, right?
Right. Whatever state he's in.
Yeah, I can't imagine that if for some squatters that they are breaking some law somehow, and they're certainly breaking the law in regards to when you own private property, it's your private property to do with as you see fit.
A lot of those squatting homes are foreclosures that are owned by the banks. So I really don't know how that works.
Well, it's a question. Do the conservatives hate the banks more or do they hate the illegal immigrants more? So it's kind of like, you know how the left...
Libertarians would probably say the banks.
Yeah, the libertarians would say the banks.
The government is always wrong.
But when it comes to like, it's like how leftists have their own like pyramid of oppression.
Yeah.
Conservatives have the pyramid of hatred. And it's like, which do you hate more in order to decide which policy will take priority? And apparently they despise the illegals more than they love their gun rights, because did you hear about this case this week where like an illegal had a judge throw out the case against them because they had a gun while they were at like some protest or something?
No.
Yeah, so the conservatives really mad this week because a judge says that just owning a gun is not in itself a crime in the United States, which is true.
Right.
But conservatives are mad at libertarians like us because we say, yeah, it's not a crime to own a gun. Now they can't buy a gun, They can't go and buy a gun because you mark on the form that you're a citizen of the United States.
Right.
But if you're illegal in the United States, there's no law
You
that
don't
says
have rights, technically. Like, the Constitution doesn't apply to you if you're an illegal immigrant, right?
it does if you're within our jurisdiction.
Correct.
So that's
So
the
you
14th Amendment.
technically have the Second Amendment on your side
Yes,
if you're an illegal.
yeah, definitely. So illegals have the same rights, that the basic rights that everybody does, meaning that
Okay.
you can't murder them, right? If an illegal alien comes across the border, you can't just blow their head off, right?
Because that was my thought when all of these people were basically being like zombies at the
Mhm.
border. I'm like, why is there no shooting? Why is nobody being attacked? But it's because you can't hurt these people.
Honestly, I was thinking, because I knew we were going to talk about this topic this morning, and I'm going to, you know what? I might as well go ahead and play this clip before we talk about it, because it was weighing heavily on my mind last night. This video, thinking about what these poor border patrol agents have to deal with here, and the state of Texas is trying to offer help to turn them back, and the Biden administration is just fighting them the whole way. We have this video. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene shared this. It's trending this morning. Shut it down. And these illegal immigrants are clashing with the border patrol, getting violent. In my mind, the moment that they start getting violent, look at that, pushing through the barriers.
And then once they get to that second gate, are they in the United States already right
No,
there? Or
no,
that second gate is
they have to
America?
they have to get across that gate that they
Okay.
are right now to be
And they
within the.
can't get across that.
Yeah, they
I mean,
can.
that thing
They do.
looks very strong.
No, sweetheart, it's not that strong. All you got to
Okay.
do is climb up it. See those squares right there? It's
Okay.
not that hard. It's rather easy to get around it. So the question
That's
is,
why I'm not a survivalist.
yeah, no. So the question is this. I mean, at the end of the day, is like, would it be better, in order to have an orderly immigration system, which the United States deserves, is it better to have border patrol agents that are stopping the migrants, or to just have the wall? Because once you put these border patrol agents in this situation, there's moral hazard involved. Like when a illegal migrant comes up to them, there's a danger involved when it's a person who's doing the resisting, the restraining, the prevention process, right? And then there's this danger of violence. But
I
if
mean,
we
murders are going to happen.
right, but
Out
if
in the field, policemen
right, but
murder people all the time when they get violent.
exactly, but that's not really a wall there. That's a fence,
Hmm.
and fences can be climbed, fences can be dug under.
So by wall, they mean something that has no area for your hands to grab. So it would be like a wooden fence or some
No,
sort of metal
it would
fence?
be concrete, steel and
Okay.
concrete, right?
Yeah.
So it would be something scalable. And Trump built at least a portion of it during the presidency. And
Right.
Joe Biden, if he wants to get reelected, is gonna start changing his tune on immigration, like many other Democrats have. But when you see this kind of violence happening at our southern border against our border patrol agents, right, who are just trying to do their job, like you say to yourself, Donald Trump is looking pretty good right now in regards
Right.
to how you're voting.
And
Yeah.
we were all criticizing him, and he was like, "Build that wall."
Build out. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't like him very much
Build that
because
wall.
of this whole
Build
wall
that
thing.
wall. Build
I thought
that
it was
wall.
stupid.
Build
I
that
thought it
wall.
was a waste
Build
of
that
our
wall.
money.
Well, it might
Build
be
that
at the end of
wall.
the
I
day.
might
Build
think.
that wall.
He's I mean,
Build
here's
that
the thing.
wall.
He's probably right,
Mhm.
but you're probably right too, right? The problem is that there's what we envision in our mind, what it would be like,
Right.
and then there's the reality of government, what government will actually do, which is
Mhm.
screw it up and give the projects to a crony in there that's of their
They'll
that
leave
paid them in
nails
their district.
everywhere.
Yeah,
It'll be a mess.
it'll be a mess. There'll be ways to breach the wall. There'll be holes in it. The government is going to find some way to screw it up,
Well,
right?
I'm just trying to compare our situation to some other country and how they've dealt with it.
Hmm.
Do other countries have walls? I mean,
Yes.
how do they prevent people from coming in? What does it look like? I was
Well.
trying to think of, where does this actually work?
Mhm.
Where can they actually stop illegal immigrants from coming in?
Well, you know what is a really good example of that is the state of Israel, actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
So do they have walls, you think?
they
All
do.
over?
They do have some walls in
Uh-huh.
some areas, but as you saw on October 7th of last year, there are still places where they can get breached.
Can breach, and I know that there are guards at some of the walls, at least, because I
Yes.
remember seeing a guard that was killed
Mhm.
at the wall, so that wasn't very effective.
Right, right. So it's just there's the real truth about this situation is it's the land, it's kind of like North Korea, the land of no good solutions, the land of no good options, right? There are no options that people can propose that are possibly going to satisfy every single party or fix the problem entirely.
Right.
It's kind of like that Thomas Paine, not Thomas Paine, Thomas Sowell.
Mhm.
Thomas Sowell quote where he talks about there are no solutions, only trade-offs.
Right.
So
Right.
if we enact one solution, then there's going to be some piper that has to be paid in some other fashion, right? There's
Right,
some.
it's like paying the guards
Mhm.
versus paying for the wall. What's more expensive here?
Well, in terms of expenditure, there is a proper legitimate role for us, for the federal government, one, to regulate immigration, and then two, for the states to actually defend their borders from invasions, which this ostensibly is. And there should be an orderly process of immigration here in the United States. It should not just be some chaotic, violent situation such as we have. I mean, even the most open borders libertarians that I speak to will say that violent terrorists and cartels and human traffickers should not be allowed to come to the United States. Well, okay, well
Right.
then you need a vetting process, and in order for there to be a vetting process, you need a security protocol. What does that security protocol look like?
Correct.
And it's very, if here's the thing, if we can't agree, even like let's say people who watch this show in the mornings, if we can't all agree on what a proper protocol is going to be, what do you think Congress is like? What do you think their situation is in terms of finding a solution to the protocol? It's not good. It's not
No.
good.
No,
And
I mean, the only thing we can compare it to here in the US is the whole Ellis Island approach, because that's all we know in terms of legal
hmm
immigration.
hmm
And I wonder if back then, when all of our ancestors were coming in, my great grandmother came in that way. I know your family came in that way.
yes.
Was there chaos? Were people fighting and breaking through
No,
barriers? Like, because
no,
they
there
were coming
wasn't.
from the water. They weren't, I mean, were there Mexican immigrants coming up during that
Yes.
time?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
they came through some sort of process as well?
To an
Like Ellis
extent.
Island?
No, not exactly.
Okay.
During the Ellis Island, you're just talking the progressive era. It was
Yeah.
much more anarchic.
Yeah, like in the early
Yeah, it
1900s.
was much more anarchic on the
Okay.
southern
So they were
border.
able to kind of cross through more
Yeah,
so.
the United States has a long and sordid history when it comes to the question of immigration.
Mhm.
The first immigration laws on the books in the United States were in the late 1800s. In order to prevent the migration of Chinese, it was called the Chinese Exclusion Act, I believe,
Right.
and it was meant to prevent. In California, the locals were at the time were concerned about the number of Chinese migrants who were coming to the United States, and they
Right.
were coming on boats.
Mhm.
And so the Chinese Exclusion Act prevented Chinese immigration coming here because the Chinese, a lot of them built the railroads
Mhm.
across the United States. So there were migrant workers, and there wasn't the
At least
same.
they did good work.
But Mexico used to be a proper country.
Mhm.
Mexico didn't used to be the sort of backwater, violent cartel that it was.
The people were happier.
Yeah, cocaine. Well, they were. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It was a safer place to live. Now there was still the what's his name? God, the name of the famous Pancho Villa. There were still lots of criminal gangs
Mhm.
in Mexico, but there was remember the Alamo. They even beat the state of Texas. Davy Crockett, the famous battle of the there. You remember there was the period where Texas was independent. There was about a 10 to 15, I was named after Austin of Texas,
Oh,
the Texas Republic. There was a
really?
15-year period. Yeah, I read up on the Texas Republic at one point, but my memory's a little
So they
fuzzy on it right now.
seceded?
No, well, so you know what? Let's just pull up the Texas
Wow.
Republic here. Like
I'm
Texas.
learning new things today.
And I hope that our
It's
listeners are
just
as well. And if they are, then please do click like and subscribe. I'm sure that our listeners are probably way smarter on this one than I am. The Republic of Texas was a sovereign state in North America that existed from 1836 to 1846. So yeah, so just 10
wow.
years. It shared borders with Mexico, the Republic of the Rio Grande, which was another Mexican breakaway republic. So there was another republic there at that time. This is in the early 1800s, right? So the West is just beginning to be settled during this
Right,
time, right?
right.
Mexico considered it a rebellious province during its existence. The two U.S. states of Louisiana and Arkansas to the east and northeast, and the U.S. territories encompassing Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, New Mexico were to the north and west. They were territories. And the Anglo our ancestors, residents of the area, were referred to as Texians.
Hmm.
So the Mexican state of Coahuila y Tejas declared its independence during the Texas Revolution in 1835 to 1836, when the centralist Republic of Mexico abolished autonomy from states of the Mexican Federal Republic. So Mexico was undergoing some massive changes at the time. They had some fighting, and the Texians, the Anglos, right, the white settlers of Texas,
Yeah.
won and broke away and managed to set up their state. But the Mexican Congress refused to recognize their independence. And then, as the Treaty of Alaska was signed by Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, there's the name I was looking for,
Uh-huh.
it was done under duress, as he was prisoner of the Texians. And the majority of the Mexican Congress did not approve of the agreement. So the Texans can't, they captured
Uh-huh.
Santa Anna and then forced him to sign a treaty that was the Treaty of Alaska recognizing Texas. This is a 10-year period of like total anarchy,
Well, I'm just
you know,
thinking if they did it
essentially.
once, they can do it again because everyone's all like,
Hmm.
Texas should secede. And they're like, no, they can't secede. But I'm like, they did it once.
Yeah, they did. No, they did. But when they were seceding from Mexico, not from the
Right.
United States.
Right. So US is harder to break up with.
It's a little harder to break up with the United States, as they
Yeah.
learned, let's see, 1803, 4, 5,
They
6.
need to write a new Declaration of Independence, a
Yeah,
breakup letter to
they
America.
want to. There is a
There you
very
go.
there is a very strong Texas independence movement, and it's called Texit.
I honestly would not want to live in Texas right now, knowing what's happening at the border. I
Hmm.
mean, all these things are happening in Texas, it seems like.
It's pretty dangerous down there, and certainly the
Hmm.
people on the border, the American citizens on the border, are deeply concerned, and it's something that needs to be addressed. But it doesn't sound like whatever this bill that's moving through Congress right now does address the problem. Take a listen to Jesse Waters on Fox News talking about what's actually in the appropriations bill that's supposed to be passed by Congress today. Take a listen to this. Hold on one sec. I got to get the audio in. Reset it for them so they can hear it.
There's an old saying.
Oh, sorry,
Nothing
guys.
good happens after 2 a.m.
We will get it
Well,
up
this
for
morning
you
at
very
2:23,
It's up.
Congress
shortly.
released a monster 1,012-page bill with $1 trillion price tag. They're rushing to pass the bill before you have a chance to read it. Why? Well, because it's full of pork. And we've been digging through it, and here's what you're paying for. Liz Warren is spending $850,000 on a gay senior citizen home in Boston.
What?
Florida has the villages.
Wait, this is part of an immigration bill?
Well, immigration is supposed to be addressed in this bill.
What?
Yeah, immigration.
Gay senior citizen home for immigrants?
800 and
Or
no,
just
no, not for immigrants.
normal people.
Of
Okay.
course, honey. The bill has
What?
nothing to do with immigration to some extent, right? So here, Jesse Waters at Fox is going through what the bill has in it, to talk about, and one of the stipulations in this spending bill that Congress is supposed to pass today is $850,000 for homosexual senior citizens.
Wow. Wow. Mind blown, you
Okay,
guys.
let's continue.
I can't wait to hear the rest of this pork.
Yeah, let's go.
Massachusetts has the village people. We're spending $15 million to pay for Egyptians' college tuition. Egyptian tuition, not Egyptians who live in America, Egyptians in Egypt.
What?
Egyptian tuition. So we pay for illegals to go to college here, and now we're paying for the tuition before I guess they even.
And yeah, Egyptians, and they hate us. They're not exactly our friends right now.
Talk about foreign aid.
Yeah.
What in the heck?
Yeah, $15 million to pay for Egyptian.
I didn't know there was an
students.
education problem in Egypt.
Well, of
What's
course
happening?
there is. Of course there is. It's the Middle East.
Well, we
so-
should help everybody then. I'm sure there's education issues everywhere.
What's funny is that, and Joe,
Goodness.
is that you've got all these Americans here in the United States that are crying out to have their student loans forgiven.
Our
Not
kids can't even go to school.
No, I mean, the federal government shouldn't be spending this money in the first place.
No.
But this is why one of the reasons why. I mean, if there's anything that probably a lot of conservatives agree with us on libertarians on, is at least we all agree on foreign aid. Can we get an amen that we should not be spending this kind of money?
Wow.
And another thing that we agree with the conservatives on is that we should not be spending $850,000 on the gay senior citizens' homes.
I'd like to hear the arguments behind all of these expenditures. I want to hear why we need a gay senior citizen home, why we need to fund the Egyptian people.
Well, I guarantee you that the gay senior citizen home is just a handout to probably some, queer friend of Elizabeth Warren's, right? So
Wow.
probably runs the nursing home, and it's a handout to one of her cronies in Massachusetts. And she's using the LGBT angle to get 850 grand for whichever homosexual friend of hers is running the gay nursing home. So
isn't she that Native American woman?
The fake Native American. Yes, she is, Stephanie. Good job.
That's
yes.
Right. She should be funding the Native Americans.
What about the queer Native Americans, Elizabeth Warren?
A gay Native American nursing home.
How come we're not funding the queer Native American nursing home? Well, let's pause for just a moment. Let me say good morning to everybody who's joining us live today. Nice to see 511 people joining us on rumble.com. Probably.
Or maybe they just like us. I think we're just getting popular on our own.
Let's see. I'm going to go check out the front page of rumble.com. Let's see if we're up there for their, we are.
Security. Yeah. Topic. So I think a lot of people like to talk about this too.
It is. Let's continue to see what other kind of retarded crap they're spending money. They're spending our money on
government. This is fun.
Yeah, here we go.
Across the border. Speaking of Egypt, Gold Bar Bob's sending 400 grand to a gay activist group that teaches elementary school kids about being trans.
What? So more funding about teaching kids to be trans?
More queer funding, yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, yeah, $400,000. This is from the guy, Bob Menendez. Remember when we talked about him? He's the guy that had like the literal gold bar and was like spending money on hookers. He's in New Jersey. I think we talked about him like once a couple of months ago because he still hasn't retired, even though he's not running for re-election. He's like the most, out of a very corrupt 100 people in the U.S. Senate, Bob Menendez is like very near the top for the most corrupt. He was getting all these payouts for and in terms of Egyptian for the money that's going to Egypt, it could very well be Bob Menendez who is, responsible for that because he was getting payoffs and back deals that he was running through Egypt.
He can send his gold bar.
Yeah, well, he's not going to use his gold bar. The reason they call him Gold Bar Bob is because he would brag about his gold bar that they used to pay him for his, for the corruption.
I got a gold bar.
But that's because you're Jewish, and it comes as part of your sport utility pack. There, so.
That's right.
But
I'm entitled.
But you got yours as from the right of inheritance, from your Jewish heritage, and he got his from ill-gotten gains of the U.S. taxpayers. So
Goodness. This is just laughable, and it's really sad and depressing at the same time.
Numbers are climbing here over at rumble.com. Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you here. I'm Austin Peterson. Today's Freedom Family Friday on the show, and my smoking hot, redheaded, libertarian pregnant wife, Stephanie Peterson, is joining us live. We're talking about immigration. We're talking about illegals. We're talking about squatters.
We're not going to be pushing transgenderism on our daughter.
No.
Hazel.
As a matter of fact, later we'll talk about this, but just like the whole psychology, I've been thinking, because now that I know I'm going to be a girl dad, thinking about like all this transgender stuff and like, what happens if my daughter is in the bathroom with some weirdo who is undressing in front of her. Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness.
We'll get to that subject a little bit later. Let's finish this topic here. This is the spending bill that's supposed to go through today. Jesse Waters on Fox News.
It's
supposed to be passed today. Listen.
Not enough to keep you out of jail, Gold Bar. Sorry. Another $400,000 goes to a group that gives clothes to teens that help them hide their gender, like chest binders and tuckums.
At Target. The tuckums at Target. So they're going to be buying all these things and handing them out at schools? Or somewhere publicly on the street?
Chest binders and tuckums for teens. So, it's for kids. It's for minors. It's not for adults, right? So,
permission not required. Even Dianne Feinstein, who unfortunately passed away long before the bill was written, has an earmark from the grave. $500,000 for a DEI zoo. The San Diego Zoo's
DEI?
Diversity, equity, inclusion. So
zoo for diverse people?
You sold me.
Maybe it's queer animals at the zoo.
You sold me a queer giraffe.
Oh my God. I mean, Kelvin, our dog, he is gay.
Yes, our
So
dog is gay.
maybe he needs to go to that zoo.
We need to send Calvin the gay dog to the gay zoo. There we go.
What is happening?
What would you do if you found out your dog was gay? All right, so diversity, equity, and inclusion zoo. Oh, and then it's like, so that means, so the question is a zebra, I guess that answers the question. Is a zebra black with white stripes or white with black stripes? I guess that means that the zebras that go to that zoo are black with white stripes.
Right. The zebra is clearly a minority animal. Yes. The black overrides.
If you're enjoying the show this morning, don't forget, make sure you click like. And I know for the many hundreds of you who are joining us over on rumble.com, it's the first time you've seen us today. Welcome, but do click that follow button before you leave today. Do it right now so you don't forget. We'd love to have you come back here and join us on the show. The schedule is Monday through Fridays from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a 2-hour morning show live stream. We love liberty, freedom, and the American Constitution and all that good stuff. So make sure that you check us out. Oh, Steffi, I completely forgot. We've got a new little commercial to play today.
Been working on it so hard.
I know, but I have to download it, so it's going to be a couple of minutes. We'll have to play a little bit later, but I just remembered.
How fun!
Let's continue with the spending. The spending.
Getting $500,000 for an anti-racist nature appreciation program where high school kids from diverse backgrounds can observe wildlife.
So
it's for gay kids. So it's for gay and black kids.
They can't observe wildlife naturally?
No, because there's white people around, which puts pressure on them because if white people exist within their vicinity, they have trouble concentrating because
with their meditation.
I don't know what it's like to be in the mind of a homosexual or a minority, but I can imagine that it must be like when they see a white person who is straight and who is acting normal, they probably just like go.
Yeah, it is triggering and distracting. I mean, I'm a sensitive individual. I like to be empathetic, but I mean, these things are a little bit far-fetched here.
I mean, you think, Stephanie? Yeah. You think these are a little far-fetched?
Imagine the inner city people in New York. Like, there's not much grass there. I could see where they need a botanical garden to seek refuge at.
And as a social worker, Stephanie, you would know that a lot of these people are very sensitive. They have very delicate personalities that are volatile and prone to just explode at any point.
Yeah, they can't regulate their emotions very well, which is why they go to therapy and take medicine.
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. We've got climbing towards 1,000 people over at rumble.com. Nice to see you.
They just love this pork.
They love this pork bill, yes. We're going to talk about the immigration problem that the United States is facing here and I've got some more clips to play for you. We've been going through a little bit of the spending, the wild and ridiculous spending that is supposed to pass through Congress today. Many Congress people like Marjorie Taylor Greene have said that they will refuse to vote for this bill today because it does not adequately address the violence that is happening on our southern border.
You've said that one thing about the border so far. So far, it's about
we talked about the
people. No, in terms of this bill, it's like about gay people and minorities and senior citizens.
And it's not addressing this problem. Take a look at this.
The only thing I can compare this to is a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dangerous situation, and it's unfortunate that there's not enough people in Congress to get a majority on solving a problem like this because there's just not a strong enough incentive for them to do so. The establishment benefits from this. The chaos that's on the border is a good thing for them. It helps.
Why?
Because consider this. If you're an establishment Republican, you can say you're for border control. You can say you're for controlling illegal immigration to get elected.
Right.
But then what happens if you actually solve the problem? How do you get reelected?
There's no problems that you have to solve anymore.
Exactly.
So you have to come up with a new problem, which there's always new problems, right?
Well, there's always new problems, but it's kind of like, it's kind of like the pro-life, like professional pro-life lobbyists.
Yes.
What happens if we actually outlaw abortion? does the pro-life, like I'm talking about the paid nonprofit
Right. Yeah,
employees
what do they
here,
do all day?
right?
Twiddle their
What are they
thumbs?
going to
What are
do?
they fighting for?
Exactly. What
I
are
guess it's to keep the laws the same. Maybe it's just maintaining
but I
the
mean,
freedoms
right.
that we have.
What are they going to do if the problems actually get solved? They're not going to solve the problems because they have no incentive to solve the
It's just
problems.
like with doctors. We say,
Hmm.
why do they want to actually help people and cure them? They don't.
Mm-hmm.
They want to keep them sick.
Yeah, there's a new commercial. I haven't yet installed it into our commercial breaks. It's just a little 30-second commercial for our new I'm playing around with some new animations. So I'm going to play it for you guys. Hope you enjoy
So
it.
cute.
Yeah, and take a look.
Patriots, are you ready to kickstart your day with a jolt of freedom and flavor? Then you gotta try Founding Flavors Coffee. From the boldness of Jeffersonian Java to the insurgent kick of Washington's revolutionary roast, we've got blends that'll make your taste buds stand up and salute. Swing by ap4libertyshop.com to explore our full lineup, including Madisonian Morning, Franklin's Electric Elixir, and so much more. So let's brew up some liberty and taste the American dream, one sip at a time. Visit ap4libertyshop.com. Hey there, fellow patriots! Are you ready to kickstart your day with a jolt of freedom and flavor? Then you gotta try Founding Flavors Coffee. From the boldness of Jeffersonian Java to the insurgent kick of Washington's revolutionary roast, we've got blends that'll make your taste buds stand up and salute. Swing by ap4libertyshop.com to explore our full lineup, including Madisonian Morning, Franklin's Electric Elixir, and so much more. So let's brew up some liberty and taste the American dream, one sip at a time. Visit ap4libertyshop.com today. Hey there, fellow patriots.
And there we go. All right. That was the commercial.
Yay! Did you guys like it?
Cute, right? This is probably a good time for us to remind people about the bonus content, Stephanie, about our new bonus content
Do we
program.
have some today?
We do have some bonus content for them today. So do you want to explain to the listeners how the bonus content program works?
Sure. So the bonus content is a little mini doc that's a few minutes long. And today it's going to be about the most libertarian movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So there's one movie that the doc is going to be about. So we have to raise $50 either through rants, or if you go to ap4libertyshop.com and spend $50 on merch, you can also raise money that way.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So if you'd like to see today's mini documentary, then all you have to do is make a Rumble rant, a donation, and each donation counts towards the total for us to raise at least $50 by the end of the show. And if we raise the $50 by the end of the show, either through donations or through purchases at AP for Liberty shops, say we sell some boxes of coffee or a Javier Milei t-shirt, what have you, that all counts towards the total, and you'll unlock the mini documentary. If we don't get it by the end of the show, that little mini documentary goes away forever, and we don't get to see it. So don't take that chance.
You don't want to miss that. And you can also go to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support.
Yes, or make a donation there.
If you're not able to make a rant on Rumble, if you're watching from somewhere else, you can go to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support, and you can also give money that way. So hopefully people will just, start giving little bits of money, and if they all add up to $50, then we win.
Yeah. So and we do have a growing audience on other platforms.
On X.
Yep, we're
having a lot of people this week.
Yeah, it looks like we've got 400 people joining us live over on X. So between Rumble with 1,000 and 400 people watching us on X, about 1,400 people, say, and then there's Facebook a little bit and all that. So around 1,500 people watching us live today. We're glad to have you here. Laura Kendrick over on Rumble, she's not digging the ad, the commercial. She says, not digging the anime mug and little kid voice, honestly.
Wow. To each his own, y'all.
Not everybody enjoys it. We thought it was cute, but
yeah, we did. Maybe if we'll take submissions. If someone would like to submit a video,
yeah, they're not going to do that.
Commercials, we will absolutely play it.
No, we won't.
If we think that it's good.
Yeah, probably not going to happen. It's going to take the hours and hours that it takes to make those things. So, but we're glad to have you here, Laura Kendrick. Thank you for your feedback. And if you enjoy the show and the content, please do click like and follow the stream. Everybody should be able to take constructive criticism, and we're certainly not immune. So welcome to the show, and we're glad to have you, and we hope you'll come back and join us. The regular show schedule is Mondays through Fridays from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a 2-hour live show. We usually talk about politics, news, economics, free freedom, all that fun stuff. But on Fridays, I invite my family onto the show and we talk about a little bit more, I don't know, spicy, salacious, silly, more social topics. But because the immigration issue and the spending bill was just so honking huge today, we had to discuss that for at least a little bit on the show. So,
We didn't even talk about the squatting of the immigrants
mm-hmm.
and how they're squatting in houses now. That's something I had no idea about. I mean, I've been so removed from this issue living here in Missouri. I don't know if we have illegal immigrants in our neighborhoods. I haven't seen anybody.
Gwocos 0422 donated $10 towards the bonus content.
Thank you, Gwocos.
Thank you, Gwocos. Appreciate you, sir.
So be like Gwocos and donate $10. And if we can get 5 of you to do that, we're actually 4 of you now.
Yeah, 4 more, and
then we'll be set.
And we'll unlock the Wake Up America show's bonus content for today. One of the most libertarian films in U.S. history, and I know they're going to love the one from today.
I don't know what it is today. You didn't even tell me.
I didn't show you?
It'll be a surprise.
Well, do you remember when I was showing you the woman who was who looked amazing when she was old, and then the character who played her husband in that movie was,
and he looked horrible.
Do you remember what movie that was? Don't say it out loud. That they were together.
Oh goodness, no, I don't.
Okay,
I just remember their faces that you showed me.
Okay, well then you'll just have to find out what the movie is today if they unlock the bonus content like everybody else.
So there is a very pretty woman involved in this movie. So if you'd like to see a pretty woman,
there we go.
There you go.
Laura Kendrick says she loves the show, though. Thank you, Laura. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Candace Owens, who's trending this morning on Twitter, is making the rounds for some of her comments. There's a rumor that she got fired from the Daily Wire, but that's according to Gavin McInnes. So I'm not sure.
What would he know about that?
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, I mean, he's probably got friends on the inside, but that's the only report that I've seen from someone that has said that Candace Owens has been fired.
Why would she be fired? What has she done?
Because of her comments about Israel and Jews and the conflict in the Middle East at this point.
She's not a fan of Jewish people?
It's really hard to say because I'll tell you this. I really don't listen to Candace Owens because usually when I do, typically I'm not getting there. It's a very low, what you would call signal to noise ratio, right? There's a lot of noise and there's not a whole lot of signal, right? Typically, but I don't really listen to most like podcast people anyway other than to like do research because we're in the business. Other than to do research and to get ideas, sometimes I do. And I like the clips that I'm going to play for you this morning, but I typically don't just because I just think most of this stuff, listening to a lot of this stuff will make you dumber. No offense. And listen, the people who
on the internet will make you
will make you dumber,
nowadays.
Right? And I have a family and a life and friends in real life. It's a lot of these people who are chronically online are obsessed with these personalities. And it's kind of a double-edged sword here because, in a sense, we have to cultivate not a cult of personality, but we have to cultivate a healthy audience for our own show to an extent. But
we don't want to make our audience dumber. We want to make them smarter.
We want to inform our audience, entertain them, give them a good way to, a nice healthy kick in the pants to start the morning and get out the door. But a lot of these podcasts is just, it's filler, it's fluff, it's dumb. But listen, I mean, entertainment is entertainment. Everybody enjoys what they enjoy. It's just
like a good reality show.
You know what I like? And you know what nobody else likes? I liked watching The Grapes of Wrath yesterday.
That's a nice movie.
Yeah, I'm a nerd.
I'm surprised I liked it, actually. Usually I don't like black and white films.
Yes.
But I was really intrigued by the whole road trip across America in this truck that was about to break down.
So I always felt guilty because when I was in high school, I started The Grapes of Wrath and I didn't finish it.
I'm really shocked at that. Wasn't that an assigned book for you?
It was an alternate option. So
I feel like in every high school it used to be like the book.
Yeah, it was one of them. But I started it and then I got bored and I think I read Of Mice and Men instead. Which was still pretty kind of dry, which I loved it though, because it was a play and a great film with John Malkovich. And I ended up playing that character in the play of Lenny. But the film of Grapes of Wrath is what, that's what I like to do. I like to watch old movies about books and things. And
I've been slowly getting acclimated to that.
This last week I've watched Grapes of Wrath, 12 Angry Men.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That was the court case. That was the one I was watching where it was all jurors in the room arguing over the court case. And then I watched the Scopes monkey trial movie, Inherit the Wind, which was about the evolution debate in the courtroom.
Right, yes.
So So that's my entertainment. But everybody likes different stuff.
And I watch dating shows with autistic and Down syndrome individuals.
Exactly. Everybody has their own stuff. All right, I'm going to play this clip because we got to move on because you and I, we've got to set up the next topic, which is entertainment fluff. Speaking of,
Speaking of
let
pork,
me be a total hypocrite here because we're going to talk about this OnlyFans chick who has converted to Christ, but still has her OnlyFans and is
Correct.
not. And we're going to talk about it. But here's this Candace Owens clip that's making the round.
Now,
Take a
first
listen.
off, trillion.
She's talking about the spending bill now, the one that we were making fun of earlier.
Okay,
This
yep.
is what she's
Of
talking
dollars
about right now.
you're signing these omnibus bills. If you read into it, where that money is going, it's insane. It's literally going, to museums, boards of museums. They're quite literally money laundering is what's happening when they sign these bills. But they keep it so that the information level is so low for Americans that it's like, oh, COVID's so bad. Like, we're going to give you a check that's like, $300. This basically describes welfarism, right? Like, despite the fact that there's been trillions of dollars since the establishment of welfare, Black Americans are poorer today than we were before it. People don't know this, but during the time of Jim Crow, before welfare was established in the 1950s, Black Americans were actually outpacing white Americans in this country in terms of economic growth. And the reason for that was because our families were together. Like, we had good values. The government only wants to give you the bare minimum. But where's the rest of the money? Where is it going? They sign these bills making you think that this money is going to you. It's not. They are stealing from the American people.
So what she's identified there, another like ridiculous spending, pork spending, and she's talking about money laundering that happens. It's absolutely true. One of the line items in the bill is to give like hundreds of thousands of dollars that go to a museum in New Zealand. But here's the thing: who gets the majority of that money at the museum in New Zealand? One guy or woman,
the CEO,
the curator of the
Oh,
museum,
goodness.
right? So we're literally like, oh, that curator of that museum is probably friends with Bob Menendez in New Jersey, Gold Bar
my
Bob. And they take that money, they're taking our tax dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're paying the salary of a museum curator in not even a third world country. It's not like they're trying to enrich the culture of New Zealand. New Zealand is pretty damn enriched, okay? It's not like they need
seem
that money.
happy.
Yeah.
We watch some of the YouTubers from New Zealand, and they've got businesses going on, and they make like $10,000 a month.
Yes, I love the Ghost of Tom Joad reference there. Bitchmobile, what's happening? Joad.
His name, he's like, I'm Jode.
Joe.
Jode. They kept asking him his name over and over again.
Great movie. Obviously, it's depressing, but you know what was interesting? You learned a lot from that movie because a lot of people don't really know the history of the Great Depression in the United States.
I didn't know people traveled across the country to go to California
to try and find jobs. Absolutely,
Right.
and sharecropping was a thing here in the United States, and you had to give a share of in order to stay on the land, you had to till the land and then give a share of your crops to. I mean, slavery ended after the Civil War, but indentured servitude and there were a lot of corrupt business practices that were still going on with people. Like, for example, the miners. There were the company store. Have you ever heard that old song, 16 tons and what do you get?
No, I don't know.
Another day older and full of regret. St. Peter can't help it 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.
Well, that sounded really nice.
So
Good
these
job.
16 tons. And so it was about these coal miners. And they would have to dig 16 tons. And when they got paid in a private currency.
A private currency. What currency was that?
The people who own the mine, and the people who own the mine would pay the miners in the currency that they created, and that currency could only be spent in one place. And guess where it could only be spent?
At the store.
At the company store.
Oh my god! So that's why in the Grapes of Wrath, the lady, she was buying the food from the store.
When they brought
she was commenting, she was like, "That's all they had at the store."
Yep, there were a lot of corrupt business practices that were going on in this country, and one of them was that company store that was that. And this is what liberals and leftists will point to when we libertarians say we want to end the Fed and let private currencies compete. The progressive era during the time of the Great Depression was a time of great suffering of people in the United States. Now, what was fascinating, God, I don't want to get into this for too long, was that camp that they lived in at the very end, set up by the government and the Department of Agriculture.
Camp, essentially.
It was the best. It was the best situation that they had lived in but it was the government situation that they lived in. John Steinbeck was ostensibly trying to make the government look good by showing that the government facility that they lived in, at the very end, they had dances every Saturday night, and there was, and then the local corrupt sheriffs were trying to break up the dance party by having that trying to start a riot. Remember at the end of the
I think I
movie.
wasn't tuning in as much at the very end.
But just because liberals will point to this as an example of why we need a central bank with a unified currency, because of the potential for abuse of private currencies, such as was happening in the 1930s and the Great Depression, in this, as illustrated in the novel The Grapes of Wrath by
It's
John
like we
Steinbeck.
can't always protect gullible people. Like those businessmen in Grapes of Wrath, they would come by in their nice cars with their nice suits and be like, "Want to work for me?" And then the workers were like, "How much will you pay? Will you have us sign a contract with you?" And they were like, "We won't tell you how much you're going to make, and we don't have a contract." And they would get all hissy about it. And so yeah, I mean, people were really taken advantage of. But like, is that really the government's job to prevent gullible people from being taken advantage of? I feel like that's street smarts. You got to learn that.
Andy Opperman says, sounds a little like the Menards rebate scam.
I have gotten rebates from Menards. I have spent the time on that, but they're making it harder and harder and more annoying, so I don't really do it anymore.
All right. This has been a great conversation this morning with 1,200 people joining us live on Rumble. I'm sure you're enjoying it too. Good morning.
Yeah.
Nice to see you here.
They like us. They really like us.
They like us very much. We're glad to have you here. And it looks like we just got a new follow. Barboa just joined us here live on the show. We're glad to have you.
We are trying to raise money for our mini doc that we're going to play.
Tony Martinez just donated $10. So thanks,
okay, so
thanks,
we have
Tony.
$20 now. We need to get $30 more, and then we will play our mini doc about a libertarian movie.
Yes. Andy Opperman says, but you got to spend it at Menards, the rebate.
Right, correct.
Yes, so good point there. Thanks, Andy.
I hate store credits. Whenever people are like, oh, yes, we accept returns, we'll give you a store credit. And then I put the store credit in my purse for years and years, and then it eventually fades away, and I can't even read it anymore.
Some people say man's made out of mud. A poor man's made out of muscle and blood. Muscle and blood and skin and bones. A mind that's weak and a back that's strong.
Yeah. That's right in your range there.
Yeah,
that's a good song
that's one of my songs. Melmac77 says, yeah, great movie. And thanks to Barney Styles for dropping the lyrics for me, brother. Appreciate you.
Oh, good. Now, what movie did they sing that in? That you're singing from?
They don't, but that's a famous song from that era.
Oh, okay.
And the point of that song is to remind people of that situation where those miners, and you can still go online and see the coins that they issued, those private coins that they issued in order to get around, in order to ensure that any money that was spent only got spent within the company, right? So they created their own little ecosystems and currencies.
I could see libertarians doing that, starting their own island and dishing out their own currency.
But then what happens, like, when you not only own the company and the corporation and the business, but you also are the government, right? So a separation of powers is a very good thing for a reason, right? And it's important for us to remember history and to remember the Great Depression, and to remember, because even though we want to end the Fed, the central banks, because they've become the power unto themselves, there are problems that would exist in the world still without central banks. It's not like a utopia.
So we might actually need something central to replace it with.
It should be voluntary. At the end of the day, if the U.S. government wants to set and establish a national currency, I think that might be the legitimate domain of a government. However, the problem is the legal tender law, which forces it and outlaws competition. So gold is not allowed to be circulated as a currency. It's a commodity. And therefore, since it's a commodity, not a currency, what does that mean? Taxes have to be paid on it. So when you buy gold, you can't trade it for spot. you have to trade it plus tax.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I
Yep.
didn't know that.
When you buy gold, yes.
I've
It's
always
plus
planned for the
tax.
apocalypse. Everyone always says, have your gold and silver coins ready for
Mhm.
when the dollar collapses. And I'm like, really? I can go to Walmart and pay with my gold coins? I don't think so.
I mean, it would be
I don't know if anyone will take them.
well, if they're smart, they'll take them.
I feel like most people would be like, what is this? Like, this is not something I know how to deal with.
Yes, $22, Steffi Quest Fanning donated, and then 23 because Mighty Megatron said, "Thanks for the history lesson." You're welcome, guys.
Wait, they donated $22?
No,
And $23?
because Quest donated a couple bucks, and then Mighty Megatron added another.
Oh.
So we've raised $23 towards the
23, okay.
$50 goal
Uh-huh.
of unlocking the bonus content today. You guys do not want to miss today's bonus content, so keep making those donations.
So we need 28 more dollars.
We got to raise 28 more dollars. So
Okay.
go buy a box of coffee over at apforlibertyshop.com.
Yeah, from our commercial.
Yes, that you
We
saw
have
in the commercial.
all of this fine coffee,
They hated-
light roast,
They
medium
hated the
roast, dark
commercial,
roast.
so maybe
That makes me sad.
I know that's they can't love everything, but
I know.
but if you're joining us live here on the Wake Up America show now, 1,300 of you over on Rumble, do us a favor, will you click that like button and make sure you follow the channel so you can come back and join us for the regular schedule. The text line is open and you can text us anytime, night or day, 573-319-15. They hated the commercial. Is the text line. We'd love to hear from you anytime. Monday through Friday is the show schedule, but if you want to text us on the weekends or at night, you can text us again at 573-319-1586. And with 1,300 people watching us on Rumble and with 500 watching us over on X, how many people is that, Stephanie?
So you said 1,500?
1,300 on Rumble
1,300.
and 500 on X.com. We have how many people?
1,800.
That's right. We've
Yeah.
got 1,000, almost 2,000 people watching us live. Good morning, friends. Nice to have you here. Hope that we'll be able to capture you and make you come back and join us next week. We won't make you, but we'd love it if you would.
Just keep playing that coffee commercial over and over
Muscle and
again.
blood and skin and bone. I owe my soul to the company stove. Pew, 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 pew. All right, we're going to talk about something else because my brother's going to be joining us live in 5.
Oh my gosh, it's already time.
Wow. Yep. So we're going to talk to my brother.
Talking about border and the Great Depression.
Well, it's fun to talk about economics and how these things impact us, and gold and silver and ending the Fed. I mean, we are libertarians after all.
I suppose it's more fun for me because I'm not actually impacted by these things
No, it's
in my
true.
life.
It's true
I mean, we were talking about how lucky we are.
to live in Missouri, in the middle of Missouri. Yes.
Look at the people in the Great Depression. They barely had food
Mm-hmm,
to go around for everybody. And we complain because we can't fit all of our food in our refrigerator.
Yep.
It's like, come on, first world problems here.
We just sold a box of coffee. Adam's Patriotic Perk. Thank you.
So that's like, what? We're almost at the limit there.
We just crossed it because Mo Conservatarian donated $10 and said, "Thanks for the song, AP. Well-rounded show. Bring on the bonus content." You got it, sir.
Yeah. I want to find out what movie this is because I have a bad memory.
We're gonna play it right now, you guys. I hope you enjoy the bonus content. We're gonna have to go to play the bonus content and the commercials real quick. Please stick around with us, and then when we come back, I'll have to introduce the story of the OnlyFans chick who turned to Christ.
That's what we'll talk to your brother about.
We'll talk to my brother Justin about it. He wants to talk about it anyway, so
I mean, y'all just
it will be just like she is.
Yeah.
Right? So it's going to be an interesting little discussion about her conversion to Christ, but she still has her OnlyFans up and the Instagram with all the weird, sexy faces. If you have children who are listening, by the way, if you have kids listening to the show right now, the next topic gets a little PG-13. Just want to let you know, okay?
Corn on the cob.
Corn on the cob. Not that kind of corn, and not corn at all. Not corn at all, with a P. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Tense debates leading to the Declaration of Independence, making it a must-watch every 4th of July for many. The film stands out for its detailed portrayal of philosophical debates, akin to the recent musical Hamilton, though it focuses on a different era in American history. 1,776 inches brings to life the heated discussions between revolutionaries and loyalists, capturing the essence of America's struggle for independence from the British Empire. Despite taking liberties with historical accuracy, 1,776 inches remains faithful to the core messages, using direct quotes from historical documents and focusing on key debates like the abolition of slavery. The movie excels in humanizing historical figures, presenting them as relatable personalities rather than distant icons, much like Hamilton does for its characters. 1,776 inches also addresses timeless political issues, drawing parallels between past and present struggles, and demonstrating the relevance of historical debates to today's societal challenges. The film includes memorable songs like Cool, Considerate Men, which even caught the attention of President Nixon, highlighting its political significance. Lyrics from the song reflect on American conservatism, providing insights into the political landscape of the time and its implications for today. The song's portrayal of societal values and political ideologies showcases the enduring nature of certain American sentiments. The musical was even banned from Virginia schools, Thomas Jefferson's home state, for innuendo that the third president was lusting after his wife. By connecting historical struggles with current ones, 1,776 inches underscores the continuity and evolution of American political and social thought. The film's ability to offend and challenge political leaders of its time, much like Hamilton, speaks to its impact and relevance. 1,776 inches makes historical events feel immediate and relevant, bridging the gap between past and present, and making it an ideal 4th of July viewing to reflect on America's foundations. Celebrating the 4th of July with 1,776 inches offers a deep dive into the nation's history, encouraging viewers to reflect on the origins and ongoing evolution of American democracy.
Yeah, that's right. I'll give you 1776 inches. Ooh, welcome to the Wake Up America
New
show.
shirt idea. How big are you?
17.76 inches, baby.
Oh,
Ooh. That would have been Benjamin Franklin for sure, you know?
absolutely.
He was definitely, can I say, is it PG-13 to say well hung?
Yeah.
FYI, it is Freedom Family Friday, but my family, sometimes we say, you know, we love Jesus, but we drink a little.
We have a sense of humor is all.
We do. We just wanted to let you know that if you've got little kids watching right now, this might not be the kind of content that they need to hear. So while 90% of the show is safe for work, safe for kids, on Friday around 8 a.m. Central Time, things will start to get a little bit weird here on the show. So just, we don't want to chase anybody off, but maybe put on a set of headphones. Okay, 1776, the musical, one of the most libertarian movies in U.S. history, required viewing on the 4th of July, we say. So
Watched part of it. Almost all of it, I think. It's a really long movie.
it's like 2.5 hours, but that's typical for the musicals of the time. You know what? We can't talk about musicals without getting a musical theater buff on the show. My brother, Justin Peterson, now joining us live from Boston. What's up, JP?
That's me, the musical theater buff, who's getting a new retirement home here in Massachusetts, and I'm really excited
the gay
about it.
retirement home, courtesy of Elizabeth Warren. Did you hear about that,
Thanks,
Justin?
Elizabeth.
Aw.
Justin must have been listening earlier when we were talking about the pork spending in the bill.
Mhm.
Yeah, your senator, Elizabeth Warren,
Yep.
has gotten $800,000 raised in the budget for a homosexual senior citizens group living situation. Justin, would you go to a gay retirement home?
No, but I would watch the TV show because
yeah,
that
it's
would
like a
be
Big Brother.
freaking awesome.
Big Brother at the gay nursing home.
Can you imagine? Are you
would be
looking
good.
at him or him? Where's my Geritol? That would be amazing. It would be amazing.
There'd be a lot of Viagra to go around at that place.
Yes.
Yeah, if you think STDs are rampant in regular nursing homes, just go to the big gay nursing home.
Oh my God. That's what we have to call it too.
The big gay nursing home. Big gay house, big gay nursing home.
Oh my god.
I'm super. Thanks for asking.
I'm geriatric. Thanks for asking.
Oh my God, I'm dead. Yeah.
All right. So not so family friendly. Freedom Family Friday
No.
is what it is.
No,
Not today.
Turn-
We've got
turn off the television.
We've got a little bit of a spicy, saucy topic to play this morning, Justin. Now, I'm hoping that our audience will forgive us. I'm going to play a clip. This is from a chick who goes by the name of Nala online, and she's amassed quite an enormous audience from her work as a worker on OnlyFans. Now, I've got the video here, and I want to play it for you guys, but let me just see if I can get it
Her
pulled
red
up in
hair is
appropriate.
not natural.
No, obviously not. Right, it's not natural, right? But I've got the video clip here somewhere. Here, let's see. Here she is. All right, that's not the video.
Music video?
No, so
Oh my God.
what was the video you were watching? Oh, here we go. So here is the video of her. So she's an OnlyFans creator. She was in the top 1%. She's going to explain it to you right now about how she is now converted and she's a Christian now. But let her tell her story.
You guys
we'll
need
listen.
to understand
Okay, here we go.
something right now. And it's so important for you to know and understand what's going on in the world right now is not a coincidence. Jesus is coming back. He's coming back with a sword.
And he's going to be pissed.
You know, this world is getting darker and darker. You see it on the TV. You hear it in the music. When you go to concerts, when you're just out and about, there is evil and darkness surrounding us right now.
And you were the creator.
And you're going to tell me that all of these worldly things that are temporary, we don't live that long. We could go out and unalive tomorrow. You're going to tell me that that is more important than your eternal soul being spent together in heaven with our Lord Jesus Christ. God loves you so much, and that's why he sent his son to die on the cross for you.
Is this the video you watched, Stephanie?
No, I think she's going more into her beliefs here.
Okay, this is more of her preaching.
But it was definitely in one of the links.
Was it in the link that I had on the show there? Because I thought I did.
She talked about growing up in a family that was Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was very rebellious during her life, her childhood. And then she started doing corn. And she was on OnlyFans. But then she met a friend.
Right.
And this friend was really great to her, and he showed her God.
Mm-hmm.
And then she doesn't want to brag, but she was like in the top 1% of all OnlyFans.
But she keeps reminding us
she
of
doesn't
that.
want to brag about that. So
she didn't want to brag. You know, she said multiple
attention.
times in that she was in the top 1% of OnlyFans. And so you would think, though, because here's the problem. You would think that if you had this true conversion, that you would delete your OnlyFans or get rid of the Instagram where you're making that corn face. It's kind of like a face that, you know, when one reaches the ultimate in procreate, in the procreate
face.
Yes,
Is that what that is?
When you're in flagrante delicto, right? When you're, you know, and you're having that moment.
The shocked face.
What's the word I'm looking for here? That's just
scandalized.
Yeah, well, coital, you know, release.
Post-coital reaction.
So,
Justin,
I have a
you want
funny
to jump
joke.
in here and say
I have a funny joke. So I have been told, okay, that part of that face that you're talking about is they practice just saying vowels.
What? Wait, okay, what is this face? What?
It's a face. It's yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so is it when you're being like when you feel at peace? Is that the face?
Yeah, no, but they just practice saying the vowels. They say, okay, just say all the vowels, like say different vowels, and that's how they do it. That's the insider trait. That's insider secrets right there from the industry. That's
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Justin.
Not that I know anything about the corn industry.
Justin, now you said, Kermode Bear says, purify my sins with your sacred wine, Daddy. We need that here, Kermode.
No.
Justin, do you when I introduced this story to you yesterday, you were aware of this story. You knew
Yes,
it.
I was.
Okay, so can
you know this girl.
So for the audience who has no idea any back history on this,
I don't know this girl.
Can you like give us the explanation of what's happened here so we can discuss it?
Well, no, this gal is a minister's daughter, and she fell into the OF situation. And listen to this. This is what's crazy. In her first month, okay, on that platform, she made $83,000.
But I'm sure she's not bragging about that. That's not something that's important
and she
to
bought
her.
a house. So she did buy a house in LA. So I mean,
and she's a Pomchi. She has 2 dogs. That's right.
So she's living that LA rich lifestyle. And there's a couple layers here of what I'm thinking about this. One is this, the idea about the no true Scotsman fallacy. Have you ever heard about that fallacy?
Yes, of course. We do it all the time with libertarians.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like you're
You're
not
not a real
really.
libertarian.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's sometimes I find hard baked into Christianity, and it has been for forever.
Sure.
Where it's like she's not a real Christian. He's
Right.
not the Christians policing other people's beliefs is like their Christianity is like that's like church lady gossip one is from time immemorial, right?
Right. Right.
It's like, um, so I mean I don't like. First of all, her journey is her journey, but like like you said, if you're gonna go that route, you might want to delete your stuff. I mean, as I checked, you made me go check this morning. No, you didn't really, but I went up my own free will and to check the OF situation. And she still does have a platform there, and she is still sort of getting money.
And she's still charging people there from there.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course I didn't pay. Right? Because I
Obviously.
wasn't going to be
Is
like,
she doing
"Is
right.
that content
Well,
here?"
maybe. I mean, on OnlyFans, it doesn't only have to be for porn. Maybe she's doing personal Bible studies for money.
mean, completely an option. That's called a bait and switch.
But
Right.
that's evangelizing,
I
she could be
mean,
like, hey,
truly.
come on in. And then she pulls
Hey,
out the
listen.
Bible on the video.
Somebody I was listening to talk about this yesterday, Justin said, how come, would you, if you were going to teach the Bible, would you go on one of these corn sites and invite, because knowing that there's going to be all those ads that are going to be around there, all that kind of stuff, would you invite people to come and listen to your testimony while surrounded with all that pornography, right? It's, because you're going to have them there. They're going to be tempted by all that other stuff that's going to be there, that content on the site. So the argument might be that, she just wanted to go where the sinners are and do all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing. Go and sin no more, right? Is what Jesus said. Here's the thing. When you have a group like Christians or the church or libertarians or conservatives or any kind of like social group or whatever they are, what they label they are, the newly converted are they're almost always pushed up on stage and told, give your testimony, and they start preaching right away.
Right.
And people who have been there for some time, I think maybe rightfully are resentful because they've done the homework, right? And maybe they've followed the tenets of the laws of the Bible, and they've been passed over for a prostitute or would you, I guess you wouldn't call her a prostitute or a whore because she wasn't selling her body physically, but she was selling her body visually, right? So she was trading on that. I wouldn't say that, what would you call that then? I guess, I don't know. Go ahead. You have something to say.
I think you hit on something really interesting, which is the idea, and I'm only going to go back to the Southern Baptist group, growing up. There is sort of a competition with testimonies in the Christian faith sometimes, right? It's like the person who has the most extravagantly out there testimony like wins or something. It's rarely that it's like, oh, I was living under a bridge and did it, and people go, oh my gosh, So then you've got just the housewife who lives in Oklahoma, who's just like, well, I just heard a really good message and I decided to accept Jesus, and I'm like, but I didn't, I wasn't like doing anything crazy. I just, it's like, oh, what a boring testimony. I'm just,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just feels like it's like the most salacious sort of. Also, too, here's the other thing I find about testimonies. In some ways, not always. It can be this like unburdening of your deepest, darkest self in front of the public, which like I'm also not comfortable with as a Midwesterner.
It's like an AA meeting.
Yeah. Because like here's my thing. I grew up in the Midwest. We keep our shit to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't put our dirty. My dad always said, "Don't put your dirty laundry out in front of people," and I just. So every time I see people like, putting their dirty laundry online, I'm just like, you are an idiot.
Well, here's the thing. So what the accusation is against this OF chick is that this was all planned, like her conversion to Christ and the monetization that she's currently undergoing from her Christian conversion, which is very similar to the marketing that she was engaging in during her pornography premiere, right, or pornography career. Is that it was all for attention, that the conversion was not legitimate. And you and I, we can't see into somebody's heart and know. We don't know what the context of their mind, what's happening in their mind, but it is sus because those seeking to profit immediately from that conversion. I mean, Jesus threw the money changers out of the temple for a reason. Jesus wasn't necessarily the best capitalist, despite, me, as much as I would love to find, the libertarian Jesus. He did tell us to pay, give Caesar what is Caesar's. And he wasn't the biggest fan of the commerce surrounding the temple. Fine. He saw it as a defilement. So this chick, Nala, keeps up the Instagram with all of the body photographs that accompany it, is launching a Christian clothing line, a merchandise
I
line
wonder what it looks
immediately.
like. I'm very curious.
Well, it's going to be sexy sweaters with crosses on them.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the culture, here's the culture that we haven't discussed yet here. And it's simp culture, but it's Christian simp culture. Right.
Yes.
So and every culture has the simps are a universal culture.
That'll surely keep men virgins. That's for sure.
Well, probably virginal males, and men who are addicted to pornography and things like that, and maybe were fans of her before, are going to follow this journey and are going to play what we might call Captain Save-A-Ho or white knights, right? For example, you'll see this frequently where women are behaving badly in society. And rather than be called out or have to face the consequences of their decisions, because in this video where she's talking about it, she talks about not judging, thou shalt not judge. No, it's, God might not judge you. Well, I'm going to judge all day long. Like I have the right to judge. God granted me the wisdom and the knowledge to be able to discriminate and to discern. And thankfully, Stephanie, you redheaded Jezebel, you took a bite of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So we know the difference between good and evil. And so to me, when I see this chick with her flaming red hair and I see this conversion, and we kind of look at this a little bit from outside, even though we were raised inside this church, same church as she was, the Baptist tradition, I doubt the veracity and the bona fides. And I know Christian simps. These are, well, for lack of a better word, these are horny men who typically have trouble with women, who struggle to get laid, and they go out there and they act as Praetorian guards for women who do not care about them, who would as soon as step on them, spit on them, as look at them. And yet these men go out there and play these roles of knights protectorate for these women so that they don't have to suffer the consequences of their poor decisions. There have to be consequences for your poor decisions. The afterlife might save you. She might go to heaven. Christ might forgive her, but that doesn't mean that we have to here on earth.
Well, I would say, I don't know about that, but I would say the next thing I would say is the majority of men that are on OF are married men.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's true.
They're married, right? So, physician, heal thyself. I like you said, it's not for me to her situation is between her and God. But here's the thing: we are also living in a culture of very, very low social trust, just by nature, right? Where we don't trust what we see anymore, right? Like we are just sort of engaged now. That's if we think. Let me just put that in parentheses. If we think. People who are trusting of everything the media says, we have a name for those people. Non-playable characters, right?
NPC.
They just get the download. But I think those of us who think, wish to pursue critical thinking skills, not really very hot right now. It's so not hot right now to think critically. We look at everything that comes at us and we go, skeptical. Like you said, the Bible also talks about the fruits of the Spirit. Right? What is you're going to know who Christians are by the fruits of the Spirit.
Right.
And so in a way, the Bible says you judge people by their behavior, not what they say, right? Because there's a lot of talk, right? We always know that. There's a lot of talking in this world. And I think you judge people by the behaviors in which they engage in. Because one of the things I learned in acting classes is that if you want to reveal a character in a play, you reveal the character through behavior. You don't really reveal it through what the character is saying. You reveal it through what the character is doing. And that has actually always helped me, because when I'm confused about how people are comporting themselves in the world, I'm always looking at the behavior. Like, look at the behavior, like, I'm really interested in you. I want to take you on a date. And they never call, right? So it's like,
Our values are in direct alignment with your actions.
Exactly. So for her, it's like, okay, what we want to see or what we're expecting to see is that if you profess this with your mouth, then you need to back it up with your behavior and your actions, right?
Well,
I think that's
speaking of backing it
Right.
up, I mean, here I have a picture of her from Instagram, where her butt is very prominently displayed.
Is this before she converted
No,
back?
after it's
Oh,
still up,
okay.
still up. The Instagram's still up. And you shall know them by their fruits. Do you see this picture,
Oh,
Steph?
so
Can you?
she's putting like Bible verses next to her butt.
Not yet, right? But
Oh,
that's coming, I'm sure, right? But
here,
here,
let me look
but
over.
here, can you see here, right here, with the big giant butt on the screen here, and then see here the cleavage, the photographs that we're doing here, and then you just right there see the cleavage, and then there's that face that Justin was talking about here. You can see that this is the corn face, right? This is something's happening to my
I've never had that face ever in my life. I
yeah
don't know what.
yeah you have. You just haven't been there. I haven't held up a mirror for you while that's happening. So. Uh, God.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to
bridge
the
too far. I don't
welcome
want to go over that bridge.
welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm Austin Peterson, and it's Freedom Family Friday, but it's not very family friendly. Sorry about that. Welcome to the show. After 8 a.m., things get a little bit spicy on the Wake Up America show on Fridays, but typically we keep it PG to G. So it's PG-13 right now. We're talking about some more adult-style topics. We just wanted to let you know. But 910 people watching us on Rumble and almost 700 people watching us on X means we've got a gigantic audience today. Welcome to the show. Yeah. Thereabouts. Do us a favor, if you're watching us on rumble.com right now, would you click that like button? And if you're over on X, make sure you click the like and retweet us. Share us in your feed. Let other people know what's happening in the world of economic freedom and personal liberty. Certainly, we appreciate her right to take her liberty to do with as she please. We're talking about Nala, the OnlyFans star who recently joined the Church of God. She has had a religious conversion and is now monetizing the absolute hell out of it. Levin214 donated $10 and says,
Thank you.
yes, he says, I could never be with a girl who does OF or is a porn star or is a stripper. It's a male fantasy, but the reality of it would be hard. Very true. Mighty Megatron says, I judge all the time. I used to be religious Catholic, so I can't be guilted by religion. I love judging. My all-time judging stats is 99.9%. It's very funny.
I do want to say something about religious trauma. I mean, you have all these people coming out now who grew up in these religious homes, same story as her. And like she said, she felt like she was in a cage. And so I think rebellion does usually come from that. A lot of guilt comes from that. And so that's probably what she faced. She probably had horrible self esteem because of her upbringing in the church. And so, like, look at Amish people, for example, right? It's like they tend to be very rebellious. Like when you've been sheltered your whole life, you want to see the world. And so I feel like that's probably what happened with her. And now she's like, oops.
Now she wants to come back, which
Well, and
I think normal.
if her father was a minister, is the research that I did, that we used to talk about PKs, man. PKs.
What is that? What
Preacher's
is a
kids.
PK?
We knew
Oh,
a few.
okay.
We knew a few preachers' kids who went rogue.
Preachers'
Oh,
kids are
okay.
usually they are so repressed
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they do go further in their sort of rebellion than most normal kids
Mm-hmm.
because they're just really under the thumb of not only the religious belief system, but it's on them all the time with their parents, you know.
We knew
Yeah. Imagine being that way. It's like being in jail.
we knew a preacher's kid who went so far the other way that he categorized and analyzed every single sin in the Bible and committed to breaking every law in the
Oh my
Bible
God.
and to committing every sin in the Bible. And
Not every sin.
every sin in the Bible, right? Except for murder, obviously.
Thank God.
But the one that struck me as the funniest sin that the funniest law that they wanted to break was the one against boiling a sheep in its mother's milk.
Milk, yeah.
What?
You cannot, one of the sins, this is a Jewish law, right? So you cannot boil a sheep in the milk of its mother. And
But you can boil it in other things?
yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. Ask your Jewish friend, Stephanie. Call your sister.
Jewish
Yes, you do. You have a Jewish. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Jewish family,
You
but
have Jewish
no
family.
Jewish
Yeah,
friends.
call him
really.
up and ask because I think he actually went to Israel to commit the sin.
Mike.
Yeah, he was like, I'm going whole hog. I'm gonna break every one of. I'm gonna break every on Passover. on the Sabbath, I am going to break God's law and boil a sheep in my.
Guy sounds fun.
Well, he sounds hilarious because
Oh my
I'm
God.
just picturing him like standing out in like the desert, like freezing his ass off and like boiling. Like, how did he get the sheep out and get the milk from the mother and then boil it on the side? And he told us he did this. Like, he went out there.
So it didn't
He
happen.
picks or it didn't happen. Exactly. Andy Opperman donated $10. Thank you, Andy. He says the hypocritical Christian admonishment against judgment is carried out in the secular world with the term discrimination. He says, I discriminate and judge good from bad all the time. Insanity not to. Exactly. Discrimination has become a bad word, but discrimination is what we do as humans. It's in our best interest to discriminate.
This is why I think that what's going on with the extreme left in the quote unquote woke space is very much this same sort of church lady, thing. You've got to say the right words. You've got to comport yourself the right way. And they use the same structural, cultural sort of psychology in sort of shunning the unbeliever, right? I mean, there's a lot of that's going on in that leftist space. If you don't okay, for example, this past week, GLAAD, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, released a media guide. Okay, and one of the things that they did in this media guide was that they're beginning to completely phase out the word homosexual because they say that homosexual is offensive.
What's
It's
the
offensive
now?
to say homosexual. You have to say same gender loving, right?
What?
Because, yeah, for real.
This has
I'm
not
not
come
lying.
up in my social work studies at all. Oh
I'm
my
not
goodness.
lying about this. I'm not lying about this because apparently the word homosexual is not inclusive enough. So you have a culture that's creating these like rules about what you can say, how you can think. And if you don't, it's like Newspeak. If you've ever read 1984, the George Orwell guide,
Yeah.
when you can change how people talk about things, you can make them think in certain ways. And then you can, eventually you can erase any other kinds of
Newspeak.
dissent.
It's Newspeak.
Newspeak, right. So it's like a Newspeak guide. So now rather than being a homosexual, you're now same gender loving because that's more inclusive, right? Which that's just homophobic, right? That's just
Same
completely
gender
homophobic.
loving. Well, then we get down that rabbit hole of gender and what is gender and oh
Right.
boy, that's
Well,
messy.
but then here's the thing. Gender is a social construct, but you're same gender loving. You can't have it both ways.
Oof.
You cannot have it both ways. You cannot tell people that gender is a social construct and say, oh, well, you're same gender loving. Well, that doesn't make sense. But again, as you know, Austin, the far left doesn't make sense. I mean, there's no logical consistency there whatsoever. But coming back to this idea of in-group, out-group, this is what I'm describing here. That like the whole thing now is you got to get rid of the word homosexual. And now the people who use the new word are going to be seen as in the in-group, right? And the people who are just sitting around going homosexuals, they're going to be like in the out group, right? And now they're going to be like, oh, we don't use that word anymore. So it's completely a social signifier of in-group and out-group status.
I love the word homosexual just because it gets such a, like, people always blanch when you use it.
Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable.
Right. People like, whether it doesn't matter where you come from. Like, I think that's probably why is it just feels like a dirty word.
It does.
Yeah.
Homosexual,
I feel like I'd
well,
rather
you know what
say
I love
gay
is
than
it's got the word
homosexual.
sexual in it, you know.
There's this content creator on TikTok. It's a man who portrays a woman named Terry Jo, and maybe some of your hardcore online friends on the show will know who Terry Jo is. But Terry Jo is always like communicating on TikTok videos with like gay guys, and she's like, she plays the part of this like super hyper Christian woman, you know, and she's like, "Are you a homosexual?" You know, it is literally hilarious.
The Jews and the homosexuals.
Homosexual? Are you homosexual? So,
oh my gosh.
you know,
Justin, did you see the story, the Planet Fitness boycott thing that's going on right now? Dude,
oh my gosh. Did you see the $400 million that the company lost?
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Here's the thing, Justin. I'm going to be a girl dad. I've got to raise a girl in an environment where I'm going to have to deal with men who want to undress in front of my daughter in locker rooms.
Oh, he was shaving, wasn't he?
He
The
was
guy in the locker room?
He was shaving his balls, yeah.
His balls? Are you kidding me?
No, not that. Are you serious? I didn't hear that
He's
part of the
shaving
story.
his face.
Somebody told me he was shaving his balls.
Oh, trust but verify.
Okay. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. Obviously, the topics this morning are PG-13, possibly even rated R at this point. So thank you for joining us and sticking around. It is a little bit of an adult topic at this point. My brother, Justin Peterson, is joining us live from Boston. Glad to have you here. And my lovely smoking hot redheaded libertarian wife with the pregnant baby is
about the gay nursing homes. He's reporting live from the gay nursing home.
the gay nurse, Justin Peterson, for joining us live from the homosexual nursing home and in Elizabeth
I
Warren.
can't find my teeth, but guys love it.
It's the best way to be.
Where
No
else?
pictures allowed in that nursing home.
Where else are we gonna?
Let me just take out my teeth here. Come here, big boy.
So obviously,
Oh my
if this is your bag and the content that you're hearing right now is making you laugh and giggle and you want to come back and join us, you better click that like button and subscribe to the channel before you leave so you don't forget who we are. Of course, AP for Liberty is where I'm at on all the social networks. But here at rumble.com, it's the Wake Up America show. But the URL is rumble.com/AP for Liberty. But people, by Monday, and you're going to have all this busy stuff going over the weekend, you'll have forgotten. So click that follow button right now so that you can come back and join us on Monday. I promise it's usually very PG, family-friendly stuff. It's just that we're talking about today, it's OnlyFans and the homosexual nursing home that Elizabeth Warren wants to make in Massachusetts. So,
Oh my God!
Justin,
$800,000 you said for that?
800 grand of taxpayer dollars for Elizabeth Warren's homosexual nursing home. So,
Well, let's just hope no, I'm sorry, Austin. You mean same gender loving nursing home?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
you need to put that in the bill.
I just need to call it the big gay nursing
That is a
home.
discriminatory
But
bill
gay,
right
isn't
there.
gay? They're trying to get rid of the word gay too, right? I mean, even the word
I
glad.
think gay is okay, but check this out. This is
Gay
also
is okay,
hot
all right.
gossip. They want to call people now androphiles and gynophiles. This is the new thing.
Are we going back
So-
to evolution?
Well, because again, it's inclusive. It has to be inclusive. So
Androphile.
androphile means someone who likes the men or the appearance of men, okay? And a gynophile means someone who likes women or the appearance of women. So
But
there's
what
no
is a
designation.
woman and what is a man, right?
There's no
Yeah.
designation. Well, there you go. See, there's the irony right there. But there's no designation between a man or a trans man and a woman or a trans woman. So it's like your sexual proclivities now have to include, which I've been saying for years, have to include this other group of people. And I'm like, bro, we have a name for that. It's called bisexuality, right?
Mhm.
Like that's what they like to call now pansexuality.
Yeah,
That's the new term,
Mhm.
pansexual. Which
Justin,
I'm like, great.
Justin, what am I going to do when little Hazel Rose is in the bathroom and I see a man in a dress walking in after her? What am I supposed to do?
I mean, what are you supposed to do? I mean, the problem is that all of this stuff really doesn't affect men per se, because when a trans man comes into a male space,
Nobody cares.
okay,
I've stood in bathrooms next to dudes in dresses, at bars and clubs. Yeah, because they just go in
yeah,
there
I
and
mean, you
use
go to the gay
urinal.
bar, if you go to the gay bar, no big deal.
Mhm.
But I don't know
when
if
I
I've ever
was
said
at-
this.
Hold
Sorry?
on.
Sorry.
Justin, go first.
Oh no! I was just gonna say, like, well, here, because I live in Boston, and there are gay, there's some gay bars here, and now the bathrooms, which years ago were segregated by sex, now we're sort of like whatever, it doesn't matter, you just go where you go, right? Because we have to be cool.
Mhm.
What I find very interesting though is that there are security guards in those bathrooms in a gay bar. Now let that sink in. Because we're asking people in normal society to regulate themselves for these changes, but even in gay spaces, LGBT spaces, you still have to have a security guard in the bathroom making sure that people are not doing nefarious crap. That to me sends a very powerful message. It's something that they're not, no, you're not going to hear that except for anywhere else on the AP for Liberty show on Friday morning.
That's
That
right.
In gay bars, there are security guards in those bathrooms.
There
And
are
yet we're
at a
wanting
truck
everyone
stop.
else and just all the rest of society to just deal with that without a security guard present. So that's
Yeah,
all I'm
well,
saying.
I'll get to that in a second. Steffi, you had something else you wanted to say?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you remember, but when we were in California visiting family in San Francisco area, at that one nice restaurant, it was a co-ed bathroom. It was a free-for-all.
Right. Well, it's just gender
Say
neutral.
that. Yeah. It was like if a man walks out of the stall while I'm like putting on my makeup or, checking myself in the mirror, like be uncomfortable.
It was a little odd. So, we're at a truck stop. Like, she's at an age where, I can't take my daughter into the men's room with me. She needs to go into the women's room herself. The man in a dress follows her into that truck stop woman's bathroom. What does dad do?
Stand by the door.
I mean, what?
I
I
don't know.
prevent that biological male from entering the bathroom
I mean, you just would. I mean, you got
physically.
to do what you got to do at the end of the day.
I
My
might like
my
pop
thing
in
is
the
that
door and be like calling her name. I'd be like, Hazel,
right,
Hazel.
exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
never in my life ever been considered. No one has ever referred to me as a bigot or a homophobe
Yeah.
or, so the type of person who discriminates, Justin. Like, I've always had like, an open heart for people who
sure,
have alternative lifestyles.
of course.
But kids was always the cutoff, right, for me,
Right,
right? The
right.
kid,
It,
as the
yes,
person who got booed running for president because I
yes,
wanted
yes,
there to
yes.
be laws to prevent children from being sold heroin, right?
I'm, yeah,
There are some limits.
I'm going to keep it simple. It's two things for me, and I think it's very basic. It's public versus private, and it's adult versus child. If if you do not have strong guidelines about those two things, something's wrong with your compass, because like, what are we doing in public? What versus what are we doing in private? And I'm sure you know, and I know you know this, but like, whatever you do in the privacy of your own home, that's your own thing. And when you come into a public space, you're now in public. So there are just behaviors that have to be, as part of a social contract. But again, if public trust is gone, and we're all at each other's throats,
Mm-hmm.
you can't have that. But no, I mean, the thing with kids, this is a new thing. Okay, this is a new thing. We didn't deal with this in the 90s. We didn't deal with this in the 2000s. This is a brand new thing. And we were always trying to divest ourselves of any association with children. NAMBLA tried to join up with the LGBT at one point.
What is
And
NAMBLA, Justin?
the National Association of Man-Boy Lovers or something like that.
National
What?
Association of
What is
Lovers.
that?
It's a pedophile group.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
They're
Okay.
trying to
And
normalize it as they are today with the word
correct.
maps.
Oh my
When they
goodness.
came in, though, the gay culture was like, no, we don't want anything to do with you. We don't want to be associated with you.